will also allow the eggshells to get very, very soft. That way you don't have to pick at them. The shells will just slide right off the eggs. All right, so I turn on the heat. I also do this so that the eggs don't crack and so I can place them in without cracking. That way the temperature of the eggs will be brought up along with the temperature of the water. Because sometimes when you take cold eggs and put them into boiling water, they'll crack. So there we go. Now I'm going to leave these in here until the water begins to boil. And then when the water boils, I'm looking at about 8 minutes or so. I want those yolks very well done. Okay, so here we are. The water's at a rolling boil, cooking the eggs. And this will be about 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how hot your stove burns. Each one's a little bit different. And when that's done, I'm going to fish the eggs out, put them in some cold water to stop the cooking, and we'll move on to the next step. Out, and I'm going to put them in cool water, not ice cold water, just cool water. It'll slowly stop the cooking process, and it'll allow the shells to soften up a little bit more. I'll leave them in the cool water for about 5 minutes, maybe 8, because some people don't like handling hot, hard-boiled eggs. Okay, the eggs are out of the shell, and we're ready to go to the next step. I just have to look at them sitting there like that, though. Doesn't it remind you of something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, or the Pod People? Or kind of like the eggs in the movie Alien just getting ready to hatch. I just have to stare at them for a minute just before I get going on the next step. What do you think? Okay, so it's time to separate the yolk from the egg. Now, if you have a nice thin slicer, like this, Japanese style slicer, it works pretty good. Wet the blade so it'll pass through the yolk. Okay, you could do this from the standing position or the lying position, but the trick is you want the blade to pass through the egg smoothly. Okay, so that you don't ruin the yolk. Okay, then wipe the blade on a wet towel to lubricate it. If you want to try it from the side, you could try it from the side. I usually start with a push cut. Some people speed through this. I don't. I treat it like a sushi roll. Okay, see? No broken yolk. Don't want that yolk breaking. But I don't want to hurt the flesh of the egg either. Okay? One push. There you go. Okay, the next step is to prepare the yolks. You take a fork, you break them down. All right, real easy. So there are the yolks broken down. Now, some of that pesto. Okay. Take one. Start with 2 big heaping, well, make it 3 heaping teaspoons. Blend it together. Comes together very quickly. At this point you could change over to a spoon. I like using the fork. You don't need to add any salt. You don't need to add any pepper because there's salt and pepper in the pesto. Just a little bit of black anyway. Alright, now like I was talking about, never heard of a snowstorm down under. Pepperoncino to bring some heat to the deviled eggs. And I do mean heat. That's about 1.5 tablespoons pepperoncino. You could add more. Oh, it smells delicious. Get it mixed up well. All right, here we go. Little texture, little consistency, smells wonderful. And we're done with this. Next step is to fill up the flesh of the eggs, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to load up each egg. Here we go. One empty egg. Okay. In this, I'm going to put spinach leaf. I would have used basil, but there's plenty of basil in the pesto. Take a gob of the pesto egg yolk mixture. A little too much there. Okay. Put it in there. Make sure your hands are clean. Take off the excess. And there you have it. Okay. Make sure your fingers are clean to do this. Lay it on over to the side. Take the next one. Okay. Put a spinach leaf right into it. Spoonful of pesto right over the top. Press it down inside. Okay. Camera might not be getting this all. As I said, I'm a one-man show here. So I have nobody to guide a camera. Wipe off the excess. Okay. Another flesh. Another spinach leaf. Another spoonful of the pesto egg yolk mixture. Spinach leaf acts as a nice backrest as well. And on we go. Egg. Spinach leaf, spoonful of pesto egg yolk mixture, push it down, make sure you have clean hands, presentation is everything. Wonderful. And on I'll go until this is all done. So when this is all done, we'll be back and we'll see what it looks like. See you in a few minutes. Okay guys, here it is, final presentation. We take some spinach chiffonade. Just drop it around the plate. Doesn't matter where. I like to get most of it in the middle. Just gives the eggs a nice little resting place, some decoration. Okay, that's all. And you take your serving of eggs and you rest them on the bed. Okay. As many as you'd like. I'd like them all. For this one, we'll do 5. So let's do 6. Okay. Now that the eggs are plated, one final touch. Couple of walnuts.